right, 7 o'clock.
All right, 7 o'clock. Thank you, Erin, for that wonderful entertainment. I know it's 7 o'clock, so I'd like to say welcome to the STEM Up Club from the Inside Speaker Series 2.0. Everyone, thank you so much for being here. And on behalf of the Reach Foundation, I'd like to say hello and thank you. I'm Giselle Nguyen. I'm a PYLUSD parent for 18 years, and I'm the VP of Academics for the Reach Foundation. Now, what I'd like to ask you to do is if you could introduce yourself. If you're a student, please go into the chat box and tell us your grade and the school that you go to, please. And if you are a parent, we'd love to hear from you as well. Maybe you could share with us a fact about you, whether you went to school here or where you work or a fun fact. We would love to learn more about you. So Evan is in the 10th grade at Valencia High School. We have Jordan, a senior at El Dorado High School. Welcome, Jordan. Radina Dorna, a 10th grade from El Dorado. It's fantastic. And then Natalia is a parent of a VHS. Okay, wonderful. Okay, we have Travis Ranch represented. Okay, wonderful. So welcome, everyone. So the STEM Up Club is a district-wide club that encourages students to step up and speak up as we explore the field of science, technology, engineering, and math. And we have 4 talented alumni today who just a few years ago were in your shoes. And they have returned back to PYLUSD to answer your questions, to give back to our community. And we are so excited to have them here. And I believe that after you hear their stories, I know that you'll be inspired, informed, and in awe of the talent that is growing and blossoming in this district. And our attention tonight is to provide as much value as possible to help you and your students and all those who are interested in preparing for your next level or your next grade, or if you're a senior in high school, your next stage, that may be college or university life. And because we're living during this time of exponential change, we believe that programs like this will help elevate, connect, and expand our students' experiences and opportunities. So thank you for supporting the Reach Foundation. So at this time, I'd like to introduce Lane Williams, who is my co-host. Lane.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming.
Oh.
We're so happy to see you all here.
Thank you, Lane. And Lane has done a wonderful job creating the program, the event program that she'll drop into the chat box right now. And if you click on the link, it should send you to this document right here that I'm about to share with you. Can you see this? All right, excellent. All right, so this link has our agenda, and you'll see that we also have an acknowledgement page, and these are all the people who have helped us to pull this event together. And so we want to acknowledge them. It also has the speaker's bio as well. So a couple of things before we get started. I'd like to ensure that we have a safe space for this great meeting. And I'd like to go over some ground rules. So what we'd like to do is to ask you to keep your video on and use the chat box to ask questions and give feedback. And the best way to say thanks to the speakers is to send them a chat and give them feedback. And so I want to thank you in advance again for going all in, being present and participating in this meeting. Now, there is a reward at the end of the meeting for your active participation. Melina Michaels, our president, has a few parting gifts for those who really participate, right? Who go all in and ask a bunch of questions. So Melina's, who has the title of the Reach Foundation, is with us. Melina, would you like to say hello?
Hi, everyone. I'm going to be watching and listening. We've got some Starbucks gift cards to hand out at the end. So
Wonderful.
Hope you all enjoyed the evening. Good presentations.
Thank you, Melina. All right, so again, please turn on your video, use the chat box, ask lots of questions, and give feedback to the speakers. Each speaker will have 5 minutes to speak. Then we will have a brief Q&A session in between each speaker. And we have allotted more time for Q&A based on the feedback that we received from the first session. And please feel free to get a pen and paper out to take notes. And one last housekeeping note. If we have any technical issues, which sometimes happens, please be patient. We have 3 tech masters present to monitor the audio, the video, and the meeting overall. So during the speaker's presentation, we will ask everyone to mute. And this meeting is being recorded and will be posted on the Reach website. All right, so now are you ready to begin? Get the show on the road. All right, so I am excited to introduce our first speaker, and I'm going to bring up her slide. So let's see here. Bear with me as I share the screen. All right. All right, so when I change, all right, can you see this? All right, excellent. All right, Erin Marshall attended Valencia High School and was involved in the Tiger Regiment Marching Band and the IB program. She graduated from UC Irvine with a Bachelor of Science in Chemistry and was immediately hired full-time at the Orange County Water District as a lab technician. She has worked her way up towards a new position as a QA/QC chemist and is pursuing a master's in quality assurance. Her goal is to continue helping our community to ensure we have a safe quality water source and work on developing a larger quality assurance department at OCWD. Such an important job because we all need water, right? Clean water. Ragan Jones, I'm sorry, that's it. Please help me welcome Erin Marshall. Take it away, Erin.
Thank you. So I didn't decide to be a quality assurance chemist in middle school or high school. I didn't even know that was a thing. What got me here today was experience and guidance from people that I trust and just kind of taking things one step at a time. So a little bit about me. I grew up playing musical instruments and my favorite subject in school was math. In Kramer, I did not do the GATE program, but I was able to take the math classes that were part of that program. So even taking just those math classes helped me decide to join the IB program at Valencia. At VHS, I was still involved with music. I was part of the marching band, winter drumline, and the jazz band. And my sophomore year, I took chemistry with Mr. Shenton, and I loved it so much. I loved doing experiments and watching all of the colors in the chemical reactions. And at the end of the year, Mr. Shenton offered a teacher's assistant position for the following year. So I took that position and I was so happy that I did because I was able to sit in during the IB/HL chemistry class and see what types of activities they did before taking that class. So being part of these math classes and chemistry classes helped me choose math and chemistry as my IB/HL courses. And after VHS, I went to UC Irvine. I started off as a pharmaceutical sciences major, but I shortly switched to a chemistry major because I realized biology was not my forte. I was a little nervous switching majors. I remember thinking with pharm sci, it was so obvious I would end up being a pharmacist. But with chemistry, it wasn't as obvious what type of chemist do I become. I didn't know, so I actually went back to visit Mr. Shenton and asked him. He showed me a poster on the wall, and it had all these words of the different things that you can do as a chemistry major. And what stood out to me was environmental science. I wanted to be a chemist to help create a more healthy and sustainable planet. So at least at that time, I had an idea of what I wanted to become. As I was approaching my third year at UCI, I had an option available to me thanks to the IB AP program, and that was being able to graduate in 3 years. I thought, do I want to graduate in 3 years, or do I want to take my time and do 4 years along with an internship or research? And I had a lot of discussions with my family and my friends and some professors. And one thing to think about was, even if I graduated in 3 years, I was focused strictly on my studies and no hands-on experience. So I chose to do 4 years to help me choose and explore the type of chemistry job I wanted. And so a friend at the UCI chemistry club I was part of had once told me that experience is key. Even if it's just a job washing glassware, do it. You learn a lot just from being in the environment. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna look for a job just like that. So I went onto the career website and I saw an opening at the Orange County Water District. And the job description was 90% washing glassware. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is so perfect, and it has to do with the environment. And I got hired, luckily, but the job wasn't only washing glassware. I was able to shadow chemists and help prepare experiments, of course, after I finished washing the glassware. Around the same time, I joined a chemistry research group at UCI to see what researchers do. They were studying nanoparticles and materials, and I wanted to see what PhD students worked on. So as I was experiencing both my internship and the research group, I was kind of deciding what route to take after graduation. Did I want to go to grad school and pursue a master's or PhD? Or did I want to join the workforce right away? I enjoyed research, but I couldn't see myself doing it for much longer. And I knew I loved my job at OCWD. I met so many people there that I connected with, especially after learning that a lot of them started off as a lab intern just like me. Luckily, I was hired right after graduation in 2015 after somebody retired. And since working at the OCWD lab, I discovered a new interest in quality assurance and worked my way up towards a newly created position while pursuing a master's degree. And I would not be where I am today without having discussions with my coworkers and supervisors about my self-development. So don't be afraid to seek advice and share your options and goals with your family, friends, teachers, or anyone else that you trust. But ultimately, you should follow your dream and do what makes you happy and experience as much as you can. Thank you, and I'll be taking any questions you have.
Oh, let's give Erin a round of applause. That's wonderful, Erin. So in the chat box, if you would, enter in your questions. In the meantime, Lane, would you like to ask the first question, or I could start and then maybe you could follow? How's that?
Sure, I'll ask a question.
All right.
So Erin, what made you stay motivated in your position while you were just washing dishes?
So while I was just washing dishes, there were a few other interns with me, kind of on the same boat, and we would discuss and talk to each other on what we were doing. Even though we were all in the same place as a lab intern, we still all had completely different paths. So even though I may have just been washing glassware, I was surrounded by so many people. There were at least 4 other interns. And when I'm walking around the laboratory, putting away glassware, there's a chemist there, just kind of chat with them and ask them what they're doing to get a little insight. So that's how I kept it interesting while cleaning.
So I have a follow-up question for you, Erin. So Mr. Shenton is the chemistry teacher at Valencia High School. So when you went back to visit him and asked him questions, what was that like? Because, sometimes people are a little bit shy at asking questions, but when you asked Mr. Shenton, what was that experience like?
So I do have to say that I commuted to UCI and I still lived at home in Placentia and had regularly visited Valencia to go see the marching band. I still wanted to see what was up. So I think it's good to kind of keep in touch a little bit once you graduate, because you may have some questions. So even though I hadn't talked to Mr. Shenton directly, I had been on the campus, so it felt a little bit more comfortable. But I believe Mr. Shenton did share his email with us. So I shot him an email and said, I have questions, can I please come visit?
Oh.
So I went there and, he was one of my favorite teachers and I trusted him. I knew he had the best interest for me. So I had no issues reaching out. If I need help, I'm gonna ask for it.
Awesome. We have 2 questions that just came in.
All right, so Gabrielle, you asked Erin, how did you choose your college and what was that process like?
Okay, how did I choose my college? I applied to many colleges, most of them in California. I chose UC Irvine because it was, for me, close enough to home, but far away enough from home, if that makes any sense at all. But also, I enjoyed the campus. It was such a beautiful campus. I took a tour there and I saw the department. So if you have an idea of what kind of department, if you want to go into chemistry, or like I said, I had an interest in music, so I went to go look at their music department too. And I just thought what they had to offer was so great. So I think what really helps, if you can, is to go take a college tour.
All right, great. I think we have a couple of minutes left here. And this next question is from Evan. What was your hardest class at UCI?
Ooh, my hardest class was probably the series for physical chemistry. I didn't know that physical chemistry was a thing. I thought it was just like general chemistry and organic chemistry. And then I said, there's a third one. So physical chemistry, which I didn't take until my 3rd year. So it was building up to that, but you take all of the prerequisite courses beforehand. And I do have to say that a lot of people might say in the chemistry program or even other sciences, they might say organic chemistry is the hardest. But Mr. Shenton helped with that. He actually goes over chemistry a little bit in IBHL Chem. So I felt like I had a leg up in that class, which is why it wasn't as hard as I thought for other people.
All right, great. Thank you, Erin. Great job. All right, let me go ahead and introduce our next speaker. Ragan Jones graduated from Dorado in 2016 and left for the University of Colorado Boulder that next fall. While at Boulder, she participated in Greek life, pursued degrees in economics and political science, conducted, wrote, and defended original research on voter micro-targeting, and interned 2 summers in Washington, D.C. Following graduation, she continued her studies in mathematics and applied economics doctoral programs and applied to economic doctoral programs across the country. She currently holds an industrial organization research position at the American Enterprise Institute in Washington, D.C., while waiting to hear back from those doctoral programs. Please help me welcome Ragan Jones.
Hi, thank you. So while I was at El Dorado, I took AP and honors classes, was a dedicated member and captain of the song team. I was on ASB. I was a member of the National Honor Society. My participation in these communities made my high school career so rewarding. And I learned interpersonal skills and the power of prioritization by just asking to do everything all the time, both of which have been invaluable to my achievement thus far. I also learned the value of surrounding yourself with people who don't necessarily have the exact same interests as you, but must have the same motivation and drive to make an impact. I found myself a group of girls in high school who are still my best friends today that were this. They have very different interests, but we all have very similar motivations in life. Today, they are pursuing law school, environmental studies, medical professions, and even professional athletics. Surrounding myself with them had the biggest impact on my experience in high school and my hopeful future success in life. After graduation, I'm sure you can imagine that the goodbyes were some of the most difficult I've ever had to say. But moving away to college was the first big yes of mine to a great opportunity. I knew it was a priority of mine to move away for college, to experience a new life outside of California and become comfortable with taking the shape of a new city. I did not personally want my goals in life to be limited based on location. The faculty and school's beauty in life definitely didn't make it a difficult decision either to say yes. My 4 years were more than I ever could have imagined, and after having done every activity and creating so many connections and friendships, I can confidently say that I made the perfect decision with Boulder. While at the University of Colorado, I participated in Greek life, which allowed me to quickly find the right community for me in a group of driven women. My first semester, I started as a sociology major, which I soon knew was not going to give me the quantitative push I needed. So within that first semester, I had already switched to economics and political science. By my sophomore year, I was very comfortable in Colorado and was ready to say yes to another new opportunity. My fascination with my degree programs led me to apply to the CU and DC summer program, during which I had the opportunity to intern on Capitol Hill in Washington, DC, while taking class and living with other interns from my school. I settled so well in the city that I chose to return to DC for another summer to work in data management for a political micro-targeting firm and live with some of the friends I'd made. We had a ton of fun. I now had experience living in 2 brand new places while working hard with many new best friends for life. These friends were also motivated, as were my friends at home, and pushed me to keep saying yes to new opportunities as they approached. Life had been demonstrating to me that saying yes and taking big lifestyle, academic, and career jumps brought so many rewards. Friends, academic success, career advancement, and a better understanding of the world we live in. My next yes was no different. I said yes to a semester abroad like no other. I decided to participate in a program called Semester at Sea my junior year, where students study on a ship and are transported from country to country. Among my 13 stops in Asia, Africa, and Europe, I was able to apply my coursework in a whole new way. Communicating with those that live so differently than you expanded my understanding of a wide range of political and economic systems and cultures. I would love to talk to anyone more about my abroad program after the meeting if they would like. Choosing to relocate to a moving ship was definitely one of the biggest yeses I've ever said, but it was life-changing. Because of my perspective on the world at this point, I decided that in my career, I wanted to make an impact much bigger than myself. So it was natural for the next step to be a doctoral program in economics and a career of research. I decided that I wanted to gain experience in conducting original research by writing and defending an honors thesis during my senior year. So I connected up with a couple of my professors from DC and Boulder and began the process. I enjoyed every step of creating a project from start to finish, approving, conducting, analyzing, and defending my work. This year-long process was a big yes for me, and it was once again a great one. I now have a paper that I've been able to market in my graduate applications and was able to solidify my career choice as a researcher. Rewinding back to my time at El Dorado, being around my best friends showed me a glimpse of what being headstrong and motivated could bring me in life. Those best friends today still all love what they do and have only encouraged me to keep becoming better at what I love. Throughout my experiences after graduating from El Dorado and saying yes to becoming better, I've only continued to find more lifelong friends in each place that have continued to push me. My biggest advice as a former PYL student to the current ambitious students are: stand strong in your decision-making abilities, take risks, say yes, and surround yourself with groups that will make you better at both what you love and a person. Thank you.
Yay. Great job, Ragan. Thank you so much. Say yes. And stand strong to your convictions. Those are wonderful, wise words. Questions for Ragan, please drop it into the chat box.
All right, we have one from Evan. He asked, what country that you visited was your favorite?
Such a tough question. I'm going to list 3. So all very different. I love Japan, Tokyo, probably the best. India, I got to visit Varanasi, which was amazing. And Morocco.
Awesome. All right, Karina has a question. Would you say that it is a struggle to balance AP and activities? I'm heading into high school and want to be prepared.
Yeah, it's definitely something that you learn how to do it as you go through the process. If you feel like you want more and you're not being challenged enough, say yes to something new and take on that activity. And there's always room to, step back the next year if you really feel like that's what your mental health needs or something. But other than that, yeah, it's once you get going and you hit the ground running a little bit, I found it to be a lot easier once I had my schedule full to balance everything.
Wonderful. I have a question from Michaela. How did you balance electives, schools, and social life in high school?
Yeah, once again, it is something that it kind of happens in front of your eyes. And there's definitely, you have some late nights where you're like, I'm never doing this again. But then you have so many rewarding moments that make, some lack of sleep all worth it. And I think once again, having a schedule, knowing how to time manage, you can learn that throughout as you go throughout the process. But like I said, also, it gets easier as you keep doing it and as your schedule fills up because you get way better at prioritizing.
Roy asked, what was the hardest thing about going to college out of state?
I didn't know anybody when I went to Colorado, and Colorado is a place where a lot of people did know each other. So if I would say I was coming from a really great group of friends, like I said, that pushed me. And I was a little worried I wasn't going to be able to find something like that again to surround myself with. And talking to the people in your classes, finding the programs that also have motivated people, give you that sense of community that I need, or that I needed personally. And that was probably the hardest thing at first, was just the community.
Yes. All right. I think we're going to take one more question. I think we're about 5 minutes behind. Let's see here. From Nancy, what was the name of your internship, and was that your first choice?
Well, so at the in DC, I had 2 internships. So I was on Capitol Hill, and I was just a legislative intern, and so I did a lot of proofreading. But then my second internship was micro-targeting. I was a political micro-targeting intern, so I was doing a lot more data management and analysis, and which is definitely more my skill set. But yeah. Oh, sorry. Yes, those were both my first choice as well. Yes.
Great. And I just checked my time. I think we have 1 more minute. Lane, do you want to ask the next question?
Okay, Jordan asked, what are some of the opportunities the CU Boulder Political Science program has to offer?
Like I mentioned, that CU and DC program, it's not specific to the political science school, but it is definitely closely tied. Other than that, I would say that the opportunity to do research with the political science department was one of the best things that I did. The faculty there have just a world of experience, partially because you're so close to the capital of Denver. And so there's a lot of people that, transfer back and forth that have worked on Capitol Hill in DC, or we're now working in Denver. And so you have a lot of good American politics influence there.
All right, fantastic. Dorna has a question, but we're going to hold off on Dorna's question because we want to stay on time, and we're going to get back to you. Okay, Dorna? Great job, Ragan. Let's give her a round of applause, everybody. Send her some love. All right, on the chat box. Thank you so much. Great job. I'd like to introduce our next speaker. All right, I have just been asked to put it in the presentation mode, and so that it looks bigger. There you go. Is that better? Okay, good deal. So Shaina Nguyen graduated from the IB program at Valencia High School. She is a fourth-year biochemistry major at Cal State Fullerton, who will be graduating summa cum laude in May 2021. At Cal State Fullerton, she is a President Scholar, a Mark Scholar, and a part of the university's honors program. On campus since spring of 2018, she worked in the laboratory of Dr. Nicholas Salzameda. I'm sorry, that was a tough name, where her project focuses on designing possible drug therapeutics for the West Nile virus. After graduation, she plans on applying to an MD and PhD program with the goal of becoming a physician scientist. Please help me welcome Shaina Nguyen.
Thank you for the introduction. Hello, everybody. My interest in STEM began with my high school courses, specifically in Mr. Shenton's honors chemistry course, which is similar to what Erin said earlier today. And this was my first exposure to chemistry, and I appreciated how we can use chemistry to explain simple phenomena around us. For example, we can use chemistry to explain why a soda can loses its fizziness over time, or we can curl our hair when we apply heat to it. Another thing I liked in high school was creative building projects. So when I was taking IBSL physics in Mr. Jake's class, my favorite project was making a catapult where we had to launch a hacky sack at varying distances. And I remember when I was doing this project, I appreciated the problem solving process where we had to see what types of materials we needed, or seeing like what kind of mechanism we needed to safely launch that hacky sack. And then transitioning into my senior year of high school, when I was applying to college, I knew I was interested in chemistry and I wanted to learn more about it in relation to humans and life sciences. So because of that, I chose biochemistry to be my major. And then when I was thinking of a potential career path, I wanted a career that was fulfilling, where I could where I could help individuals as well as give back to my community. And with these two ideas in mind, I envision myself pursuing a career in healthcare. And after the college admissions process, I was fortunate to be accepted into the President Scholars Program at Cal State Fullerton, and that is where I am today. And in my first year at Cal State Fullerton, I met Isabel Serrano, who was a fifth-year President Scholar at the time. And I remember there was this one day where she wanted to practice her research presentation, and I got to listen to it. And even though I didn't know too much about it or understand it too well, because I'm not the best at math, I absolutely loved it. Even though we had varying levels of understandings related to math, I liked how she is able to use math to try and explain complex concepts or answer complex questions. And with this first exposure to research, I wanted to see how I could get involved. So shortly after, I started working in a medicinal chemistry lab under the direction of Dr. Nicholas Salzameda, where my project was focused on creating possible medicines for the West Nile virus. But when I first started this lab, or started working in this lab, I was very nervous because I didn't have a lot of laboratory skills. I was afraid of failing and I wasn't sure what I was going to do. But under the direction of Dr. Salzameda and his guidance, he helped me gain those laboratory skills as well as challenged me to become a successful scientist. And as I spent more time in this lab, I appreciated how, like, similar to building a catapult in Mr. Jake's class, I liked how I was able to build molecular compounds using organic chemistry. And over time, I fell in love with research and how it could be used as an avenue to help individuals through scientific development. And after talking to Dr. Salzameda and Isabel, who I consider to be a mentor, I came to the decision that I wanted to pursue an MD PhD program, which was a dual doctorate degree where you get both your doctorates in medicine as well as philosophy. And with this, Dr. Salzameda and Isabel helped me apply and get into nationally funded research programs, as well as present at national conferences where I was able to win numerous awards. And reflecting back on my high school and college experiences, I realized that mentorship is very important. As I had just mentioned, through my college experiences, Dr. Salzameda and Isabel were important mentors who guided me and helped me throughout my college process. And in high school, when I was doing cross country and track, my coach, Coach Garcia, I considered him to be a mentor because he taught me the importance of perseverance and resilience in the face of challenges. So as current middle schoolers and high schoolers, I would encourage you guys to put yourself out there and try and seek mentors. This could be anybody. It could be a teacher, a coach, a fellow peer, or just someone in the community. And another thing to remember with mentors is different mentors can serve different purposes. One could help you with your professional goals, while the other can help you with your personal goals. And the last piece of advice I want to give is be okay with putting yourself out there and taking risks. For example, when I was starting to work in Dr. Salzameda's lab, I was nervous, but because I took that small leap and put myself in that position, I was able to challenge myself and expand on a new skill set. And now I have an idea of what I want to do in the future. So for you guys, I would encourage you guys to maybe try a new sport or join new clubs if you guys are interested. And with that, I would like to say thank you, and I'd be happy to take any questions at this time.
All right, Shaina, thank you very much. Try a new sport and get multiple mentors. Try new things. All right. Let's see, Lane, do you want to start with the first question?
Yeah, let's do it. All right, Shaina. So when you're looking for a mentor, where do you look? How do you find one? What do you look for in someone that you want to be your mentor?
Yeah, sometimes it could just be someone within your vicinity or someone that you can consider a role model. So when I was in high school, I met different teachers or had different classes as well as different coaches. I see Coach Gill. Hi. And we have different connections and you can relate to them in different ways. For example, when I talked to Mr. Shenton, I talked to him about my academic goals. But sometimes when I talk to Coach Garcia or sometimes Coach Dill, I would talk about like maybe struggling with running or like struggling with different challenges. So seeing how they interact with you, maybe through classes or through other things in your life, I would say they could help you do that.
All right, great. We have a new question that came in. How did you build connections and get into research programs?
Mm-hmm. So as I mentioned in my speech, I came into Cal State Fullerton as a President's Scholar. So I was fortunate to be a part of a program with other President's Scholars, and we come from different majors. So I was thankful to have that sense of community. Another thing that I did was I joined different clubs or I interacted with different people, like Shippa was one of them. I interacted with them a bit, as well as I lived in the housing community, so I made friends through that as well. But it's a matter, especially with college and me being part of a commuter campus, sometimes it can be hard to meet new people. So it's kind of just putting yourself out there in that way.
All right, thank you, Shaina. Dorna asked a question earlier, but we didn't get a chance to answer. So Shaina, would you be able to answer this question? Were the AP classes you took in high school very beneficial for you when heading to college? Like, did it bring you a better chance to get accepted into many schools? That's a great question, Dorna.
That is a great question. So I took AP classes as well as IB classes. So I also took AP Chem with Mr. Shenton, and I would say, yes, that most definitely helped me as a biochemistry major. Another course that I remember taking that was very defining in high school was IBHL math. And the reason why I bring that up is that was a very challenging course. Erin is nodding her head. When I looked back at what IBHL math was about, it essentially covers Calc 1 all the way to like linear algebra, which is very extensive, and most people don't learn that until college. And I remember in high school, I was struggling a lot and I didn't get the best grades in that class. So it's possible that it did hurt my applications in that way. But then again, having that foundation or having that early exposure did set me up for success, regardless of like just being at Cal State Fullerton. I think I would be successful going to other places as well.
Great job, Shaina. Thank you so much. I'd like to transition to our next speaker now. And I'm going to just take a second here and put it in presentation mode. All right. Diya Borooah graduated from El Dorado High School in 2019. While in high school, she played 4 years of varsity tennis. She was a part of the National Honor Society, vice president of the Make-A-Wish Club, and more. She found a passion for nursing due to the fact that she was always interested in the sciences and knew that she wanted to help people in the future. She is in her last year in the pre-nursing program at CSUB, and although she is currently home due to the pandemic, she is continuing her path to nursing school while working part-time. Please help me welcome Diya. Take it away, Diya.
Hi, everyone. As you all just heard, I graduated from El Dorado in 2019 and decided to go to Cal State Bakersfield to pursue a degree in nursing. Throughout high school, I was involved in various clubs, the National Honor Society, AP courses, and captain of the tennis team. Through my time on EDHS tennis, I learned how to be tenacious, stay accountable, and the important qualities of a good leader. We'd always joke about how Coach Cyrus was more than just a tennis coach. He was a life coach who prepared us for the realities of life after high school. During my time at El Dorado, I developed a love for the sciences. It was actually Miss Shiry's honors chemistry class that really inspired me to pursue a degree in science or something that's medical based. I realized that I wanted to help people in the future and create a positive experience for those at their most vulnerable times. It wasn't super easy choosing a school because I was planning on playing tennis in college. However, the schools that I was interested in or communicating with for tennis didn't have the nursing programs I wanted to be in. After talking to my family and other supporters of mine, I decided to prioritize my passion for science and nursing over college tennis. So in fall 2019, I moved to CSUB and began my pre-nursing pathway. After living in the same city for my whole life, this was a new experience for me as it is for a lot of people. At first, I was nervous to reach out and make new friends, since this was really the first time since kindergarten where I didn't already have a group of friends at school. The most asked question I got attending CSUB was, why would I ever choose to move to Bakersfield out of all places, especially after living in Orange County? My answer to that was that I had gotten to other schools such as Cal State Fullerton, UCR, and others, but CSUB was the only school I got into directly for nursing since it's such an impacted major. So I figured I would just stick it through and get my pre-nursing requisites done, despite the lack of city or college life Bakersfield had to offer. One of the most important things I learned was not to be afraid to reach out and be involved. I'm currently in the honors program, involved in my nursing cohort, and the vice president of the tennis club on campus. Through being involved in these clubs and programs, I met some of my closest friends. In fact, extensive labs and difficult courses resulting in forming tight-knit study groups and spending countless hours in the library together, which surprisingly is something I now miss. Another aspect of not being afraid to reach out that has helped me is not to hesitate to ask questions in class. I began to accept that it's okay to not understand each concept and the huge benefits of seeking help and going to professors' office hours. Despite the rigorous coursework and assimilating to a new area, I had a fulfilling experience at CSUP. I learned how important it was surrounding yourself with motivated people and that the so-called college lifestyle is relative to everyone. I recognized that I didn't have to go to the best school in the country or the university that had the biggest campus and lowest acceptance rate in order to make meaningful connections and pursue a degree. Last March, news began spreading around campus that we would have to move out of the dorms because of the declared lockdown due to the pandemic. Unknowingly, we attended our last in-person labs, club sport practices, and study groups that week. Soon after, I packed, checked out of my dorm, said my goodbyes, and started my 125-mile journey back home. Despite having to be fully online since then, coming back to live with my family while keeping others safe has allowed me to thrive in a different way. I'm currently working part-time while attending classes at CSUB as a sophomore. I just applied to nursing school, and I hope we will all be able to attend in person safely within the next year. My goal is to become a registered nurse and specialize in neonatal care. Until then, I plan on continuing to finish my courses, work part-time, and get an internship to gain more experience in the field. I know it may seem scary thinking about attending college, especially during these times, but I assure you that everyone's in the same boat and we're all learning together, both professors and students. I've learned to be open to being involved in trying new things and how important it is to ask for help when you need it. That being said, I'm really excited for the next wave of students to navigate their own academic journey, and I urge you all to trust the process and dream big, and don't forget to set your goals. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Diya.
Of course. Let me know if anyone has questions.
All right, Lane, would you like to kick it off with the first question?
Yes. All right. So it looks like Evan asked, how many years of a foreign language did you take in high school? And do you think it's essential to take 3 to 4 years of a foreign language to get into a good university?
Okay, so I took Spanish starting in 7th grade at Tuffrey, and I went all the way up to AP Spanish my senior year of high school. So I would definitely recommend it because I've heard a lot of people who hadn't taken AP and they had to fulfill a language requirement in college, and those classes are definitely more difficult. Because since I took up to AP, I didn't have to take a language in college, which kind of took some classes off of my plate. So I don't think it's essential to get into a good university, but I would definitely recommend it if you just want to check it off your list or kind of get ahead and work ahead in high school.
All right, wonderful. Diya, we have another question from Nikita. How did you display leadership as a high school student?
Okay, so in a couple different ways, such as clubs and stuff. I was vice president of Make-A-Wish, involved in NHS, but I would say the biggest way I was, I guess, a leader was through tennis. I was team captain 2 years out of the 4 years I was on the team, so my junior and senior year. And I honestly learned a lot from it. I was a pretty reserved person in my freshman and sophomore year of high school, but that really, brought me out of my shell. And that's how I displayed leadership and was involved.
Excellent. Lane.
All right, Roy asked you, how did you conquer your fear of reaching out for information, guidance, and mentoring?
Okay, so in high school, I feel like it was easier to do so just because you're more familiar with everything. But once I got into college, I was like, oh, I thought that everyone around me already knew what they were doing or was already the best at, things that I wasn't. But as I began to look around, I was like, oh, everyone's kind of in the same boat. And once I just started, putting those thoughts in my head aside and asking questions and going to office hours, I really realized the benefits and like what came with that. So yeah, I just practiced asking questions and attending office hours, and that's kind of how over time you get over it.
Lane?
Okay, Dorna asked, oh wait, let's see, let's do Depisha's question first. Did you take any specialized program offered by El Dorado High School?
I did not take any specialized program, but I was involved in honors and AP courses. So yeah.
All right. And Dorna asked you, was your college acceptance dependent more on your normal school grades or your SAT, ACT standardized test scores?
I feel like it is a combination of both, but I think I shined more on my normal school grades because they were able to see, okay, my SAT wasn't terrible, but it wasn't the best. But I was still able to get into a bunch of schools that I wanted to go to. Just the nursing part, it's just really hard since it's so impacted. But I think my normal school grades helped because they were also able to see how I was involved and participated in sports and clubs and stuff like that. So it's good to be a well-rounded student.
Yeah, and that is an excellent way to end our student presentations. Can we give them a round of applause for all their, what an excellent presentation each of you gave today. And I thought there was so much value that you shared. And at this time, I'd like to introduce our vice principal. I have a business background, so I apparently I'm wearing that cap, but I'd like to introduce our vice principal of Travis Ranch Elementary, Miss Ann San Roman. Ann.
Hello, good evening. Besides being the elementary assistant principal of Travis Ranch School, I am also honored to be able to be a member of Reach's Foundation's academic team. The Reach Foundation supports PYLUSD in academics, arts, athletics, and healthy lifestyles. Thank you so much for joining us today. In collaboration with Microsoft, the Reach academic team will launch 3 free online classes for the STEM Up Club. Age-appropriate classes will be offered to members of the club on future-focused topics. Registration is now open at the Reach Foundation website. Microsoft free online classes begin in March. Next, you can discover nature, appreciate the outdoors, and learn about environmental literacy at home or in your neighborhood. The second annual Experience Your Environment 2.0 will return this year in a 3-part virtual format with 2 premier community partners, Inside the Outdoors and Crystal Cove Conservancy. The adventure begins on March 13th with students and families using a free app to identify organisms around your home or community. This will be an action-packed event with amazing prizes. Check for updates on the Reach Foundation's website. And after this event, we'll be sending out a brief survey to all of you. We welcome your feedback, suggestions, ideas, so that we can plan future events. Now, I'd like to introduce Melina Michaels, the president of Reach Foundation.
Thank you so much, Ann, and thank you to all our speakers. This program, which the academics team brought together this year, this is our second speaker series, is just amazing. I have always been so impressed by our graduates from PYL, and I think it's wonderful to hear all of your stories. We're going to continue the series and bring in more of our students. It's just a true feel-good moment. So thank you. So I get to do the fun stuff. We've got some gift cards to hand out. What we'll do is I've picked out from our attendance today. We have 4 Starbucks $10 gift cards. If I call out your name, we will reach out with you via email, and then I will get your address information and we'll send these out to you. I'm also going to throw in here, we've got the survey that goes out. And if you're a parent listening in, or even if you're a student and you think your parent might be a great REACH volunteer, get in touch with us. We would so love to have more of you helping out. We've got such wonderful STEM programs coming through REACH right now. So first off, I'm sorry, I've got a cat here on the table that keeps getting into my stuff, of course. So let me see here. I have Jordan Murray will be receiving one of the gift cards from Starbucks. I have Evan Bakta will also be receiving. I have Nikita Gupta will be receiving a gift card from Starbucks. And I have Dorna Mohajiri will also be receiving. So we will get those out to you in the mail. And again, thank you everyone for joining us. Giselle, I turn back to you for closing us out.
All right. So there's one thing that I like to do, which I didn't get a chance to do last time. I'd like to get a group picture. So if you could please turn on your video, I'd like to see your smiles. We're going to take a snapshot of this, and that way we can share it with the district, with the schools and the teachers. I would so appreciate seeing your lovely smile. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much for opening up your camera. All right. Awesome. I love it. I love it. Okay. All right. Nikita, I know you're getting a Starbucks card. Honey, we'd like to see you. We'd love to see your face. All right. Go. 1, on a count of 3. I will snap the picture. Can you lift up a little bit, honey? Because we could just see your forehead. There we go. Okay, good. There we go. Good job. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. All right, got it. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. You can all unmute. We'd love to hear any thoughts, any questions that you have. If you would like to stay, and if there's any additional questions, let us know. And if not, have a wonderful evening, and thank you so much for being here. And speakers, thank you.